There we are. We're in the right place this time. Oh, geez. It's been one of those days.
Happy
Evening.
Friday, yo.
Happy Friday. Evening. It's the Q&A session. So you got me and Alice. We've both had one of those days, which is why we're kind of a little bit hysterical, I think.
It's hilarious to think it's end of the week. We're done.
Man. Yeah, it's been a busy week. I've worn these glasses. So I got told off by the doctor yesterday. I went just to get a couple of results and various things, and to finally kickstart the process of potentially getting diagnosed with ADHD. But yes, she told me off because I was reading something, and she said, "Should you be wearing glasses?" Like, yes. So, and I moaned about having headaches, and she's like, "Well, that might." And do you know
Yeah,
what? I've worn these all day today. No headache. Go
impressive. I've not,
figure.
yeah, you've never would have guessed that.
I'm just a typical bloke. I don't like listening to other people telling me things. Cool. All right, we've got a few good questions from the check-in forms this week. We've
Yep.
obviously started the next round of the shape up, and we've got a few good questions from those. So I think we will start with well, start with an easy one. Tips for increasing water intake. So Carrie's basically said that she needs to work on her water. So just a couple of things on water. So how much do we need to drink? What sort of things could we drink for water? And then tips for increasing water intake. So I'll let you answer this one.
So how much you need to drink, it all depends on your body weight. Most people you'd be looking, I guess, an average between like 1.5 to 2.5 liters is would be somewhere around where you'd be based. I aim for 2 liters a day, and I base that on just water. So really, I'm having more than that because I will have like one or two coffees in a day, and then sometimes like something else to drink in the evening potentially. But mostly it will just be water. But anything that you do drink will count towards your hydration levels for your intake. So it doesn't necessarily have to be water, but water is the best thing and the most hydrating one that you can take. Um, I was actually thinking about my own hydration levels today. I've got my water bottle next to me right here, but we're all set. I have a water bottle with me at work all the time. So it just sits on my desk. It's a 1 liter bottle, and I know I need to get through two of them a
Yeah.
day, basically. And that always works, but I leave it at work because I have had like a sieve. So if I leave it at home, it won't make it back to the office. So I don't then have a good one for home, which is why I've dug this one out. That I can make sure that on my days off I'm drinking just as much. Um, but yeah, I find that just keeping a bottle on you all the time, it's then easier to track what your water intake is because you know how like the capacity of that bottle. And then you know roughly how many times you need to fill that specific bottle up to then drink it. So, like I say, the one at work's 1 liter, so two of those, and I know my water's done for the day. But yeah, it isn't just water that's hydrating. Like I say, tea, coffee, glass of milk, squash, all of those things will count. Um, Coffee is a mild diuretic. I can't speak when it's done.
Diuretic. Yeah.
Diuretic. Oh my gosh. Um, so it can like slightly dehydrate you, but it's nothing to be concerned about. I'll say like it will still hydrate you more than it will dehydrate you.
Yeah.
The only thing really you don't want to be counting towards your hydration levels, I'd say, is alcohol. I'm afraid I wouldn't out like your glass of wine or a cocktail. That's not really hydrating.
Yeah.
And I'd say the other ones you want to watch out for a little bit is like your fruit juices, because then they can count towards your 5 days as well. Remember to be tracking your calories as well if you are working towards any specific fitness goals. If you're necking back a lot of fresh juice. But yeah, water's quite easy once you like start tracking it more, and then it becomes easier to do.
Yeah.
Is what I'd say.
I'd go with all those. I mean, it's the key thing is, like you say, it is down to body weight, also activity level. So if you are
Yeah,
somebody who is particularly active and does, you let's say you're going to the gym and you're working out, or you're running, or you're doing some higher intensity exercise, then yes, you will probably find that you need to drink a little bit more water. And water is the reason we say water most of the time is because there are no calories in it, and it's the one thing that it's easy. But you do also have to be aware that, it's sipping water. Drinking water in large quantities quickly can have the opposite effect to what you're actually doing, because we also have to think about the electrolyte balance, so the balance of
Yeah.
minerals and stuff in the body. So if you drink water really quickly, it can actually pull minerals out of the body, which we want to avoid. So if you were going to drink water quickly, like if you're exercising, then sometimes you can have these electrolyte drinks, so things like Lucozade and stuff like that. Electrolytes is another thing. People, oh, should I take electrolytes? Probably not.
Yeah.
But for some people, having, and the electrolytes you want in there, it's small amounts of sodium, potassium, but it is small amounts, just so that we can actually maybe replenish that. Other liquids that are particularly good, and I was just looking for, while you were talking, I was just seeing if I could find a graphic. So
We've got
water's
it in
kind of,
our.
yeah, we've got it in. I was just because I've had the new laptop, I haven't got my Canva thing.
It's in our files.
It's in the file somewhere. But what we've got and what we give to the guys, what we give to you in the welcome pack is that hydration thing. I think it's in the welcome pack, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is. So it gives you the kind of the different hydration, or the different hydrating capabilities of different fluids. And surprisingly, actually, you've got things like, I think it's diet. I'm just going to remind myself of this because my brain's gone completely. I think it is the diet soft drink. So things like Diet Coke are slightly more hydrating than water because they have those electrolytes in. So they've got things in there. Sorry, I'm just looking across to see if I can find it. They've got those things in there, those electrolytes that, oh, it's not in that one, that just allow the kind of water to be absorbed a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. I'm
That's right.
distracted. This is why I'm
I've got it. I've
being
got it.
tested for
We've got it.
ADHD.
We've got it.
Uh,
I'll find it. Well, don't worry. I've got it here.
so yeah, so we've got there we are. So we've got those different fluids. I think milk is the most hydrating. Then you've
Milk
got
as
things
well.
like
Yeah.
fruit juices, like orange juices are more hydrating. As you said, coffee. So caffeine is a mild diuretic, but if you drink a large coffee, so if you're drinking something like an Americano or any of those lattes, cappuccinos, and stuff like that, obviously there are calories in there. But in terms of hydration, the volume of fluid that you are consuming is more than the volume
Yeah.
of fluid that the caffeine would cause you to kind of excrete and wee out. So it's a net hydrating effect. So it does count towards your fluid things. There is a rough kind of guide. It's about 25 to 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight. So if you are, so that's a freeze of numbers because my brain's not working, but let's say you are 100 kilos, then that would suggest that somebody who's moderately active, light to moderately active, then they would need to consume somewhere between 2.5 to 3 liters of fluid per day to maintain hydration levels. And then the best way to check that you are hydrated, check the color of your wee. If it's
Easy.
pale and straw colored, then you're drinking enough. If it's getting a little bit darker, then you need to drink more. And like you say, carry a bottle around with you. Make sure you've got a drink with you during meals. So I tend to have a drink before meals, and then I drink while I'm having the meal as well. And it could be anything. So your sugar-free beverages, sugar-free pop, water, fruit juices, milk, all of that sort of stuff. It all counts. Yeah. But yeah, drink before, drink during. I have a glass of water while I'm waiting for my kettle to boil to make my morning coffee. There's things like setting a reminder on your phone. Just if you're really, really struggling, just set a reminder to go off every hour. Drink more water, drink more water. I mean, we've got modern technology today. So, you could sort of say to your phone, just, hey, Siri, remind me to drink water every hour. Siri's talking.
Okay.
There we go. and
Just
that's
forget
it.
to
It's
turn it
done.
off now.
And it's now, and it's now doing. Siri, shut up. But it's done that. It'll now remind me to drink water every hour.
Yeah.
And it's things like that. You can use your technology to do it, and it's very good. I know my girlfriend has her Amazon between the hours of 9 and 3 o'clock. What's the Amazon one called?
Alexa.
Alexa. Oh, Jesus. Alexa will tell her to drink water every hour. It'll say, Rosie, drink water. So it's really good. Use the technology there. It's useful. Okay. So yeah, we've talked about hydration. How much? Yeah, brill. I think we've covered that one. All right. Fiber. So with this current one, we have lowered the calories, and that's and I explained that in the group. When you are in a fat loss phase, if you lose weight, if you're losing fat, then you are going to burn fewer calories. I've actually got something going up tomorrow about starvation mode and things, starvation or survival mode, it's called now by some people.
Oh, is it? It's changed.
Oh, yeah, absolute. I mean, the bottom line is it doesn't exist. If people are worried about survival mode, go and read something on the Minnesota experiment. They literally starved a group of people just to see how the body would react, and their bodies did not hold on to body fat. Yeah, you look at pictures of people in the Holocaust, if you look at pictures of people who have been prisoners of war, these people were starved and their bodies did not hold on to body fat. So if you are struggling to lose weight, it's not because your body's holding on to body fat. It's because you are not in a calorie deficit. But that's not the question. So the question here, fiber, with lowering the calories, which has been fine, she said, I've noticed that my fibers dropped. I don't eat a lot of fruit, but I did last night. It'll be fine. So it's basically tips for fiber. Now, one of the things that I am going to do for the group is put something together. I've got a document that I just need to upload into the group, into the resource hub, that just gives you a few tips on how to increase your fiber. But the key thing is including at least one portion of fruit or veg with every meal. So fruit and your leafy green vegetables in particular, they are high in fiber. So if you're getting 1 to 2 portions of those with every meal, then you're going to be hitting sort of 10 to 15 grams of fiber pretty much straight away. And even more, I mean, raspberries, for example, 100 grams of raspberries is 7 grams of fiber. And a portion of raspberries would be 80 grams. So you're looking at around 5.5 to 6 grams of fiber there for about 35 to 40 calories. So raspberries great, blackberries, blueberries, all of those sorts of things good. Parsnips, they're a particularly good source of fiber. Things like avocado as well. Just be careful with avocado with the fat source. Chia seeds are kind of king. I think 2 tablespoons is, flax seeds. They're sort of like, for a tablespoon of those, you're looking at about 5 or 6 grams of fiber. Brilliant. And then your beans, lentils, pulses. So try and including those with every meals, along with your whole grains. When you're constructing your meals, we've always say prioritize your protein. So protein source and build your meal around it. But then the second thing is get your veg and your fruit. Where's that coming from? And then with your carb source, can you switch what you normally have for a whole grain version? So if you're having white rice, can you switch it for brown rice or a whole grain rice? If you're having white pasta, can you switch it for a whole grain pasta or something like that? And the same with your bread. I regularly hit 33 to 35 grams of fiber. My calorie intake at the moment is about 2.5 to 3,000 calories. So it's relatively easy for me. But if I'm eating 3,000 calories, I'll smash the 40 to 45 grams of fiber. And it's just looking for little switches. So I have whole grain bread. I have, brown pasta. I'll make sure I've got lentils, beans, pulses, all of those sorts of things in. Lots of fruit. And I'll put a document that will give you kind of the fiber content of different foods, so you can kind of pick. Have you got anything else to add to that one?
Yes, the only one on that one is it was a focus of mine a few months back, so I've noticed that mine had slipped. and I often have like the same thing for breakfast every single day, which is smoothie. So what I started doing just to increase it, but again, it doesn't massively increase the calories, was double the fruit portion, um, and then add in either chia seeds or flax seeds into the smoothie, and then also some oats as well, just for a
Yeah.
little bit of extra fiber. Because all of those things, what's really good about fiber as well, which we spoke about before, is how good it is at helping you to keep full alongside the protein.
Yeah.
So by increasing those small things, that just meant my breakfast, went up quite a lot in terms of what the fiber intake was on that one. And then, like you say, it's just looking at where you can swap for your whole grains. If you are having, no one's saying don't eat carbs with your dinner, but you could always have like your cauliflower rice, or like, it doesn't have to be the whole portion, but even if you mix some of that in, or like same with like pasta, just add the extra veg in where you can, and you will start to notice that it'll go up. But like I say, for not a lot of calories.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, if you're doing things like chilies or bologneses,
Yeah,
if you did half mince, half lentils, and that's a
yeah,
really good way of, and you'll get, okay, you still get protein in lentils. They're actually a good source of protein,
yes,
but you get a lot of fiber and it bulks out the food for not very many calories. So yeah, that's another good way. With fiber, it is important. People, it's next to protein, it's probably the most under consumed nutrient, and it's probably one of the most important. With protein, we know the benefits of protein with regards to maintaining muscle mass, bone health, hormone health, and all of this other immune health, all of that sort of stuff. But fiber is massively important for every. I think if you can increase your fiber intake by 10 grams, then your risk of what they call all cause mortality drops by nearly 10%. So
yeah,
for every 10 grams of extra fiber, your risk of dying from any sort of disease, okay, it's not going to stop you from being run over by a car, but your risk of dying from any sort of serious or chronic disease drops by 10%. And that's averaged across all of them, but its impact on things like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, it's massive impact. And there are certain types of fiber, particularly things like, and I'm going to go on oats here because I know people hate oats at the
I
moment.
will.
But there's a particular type of soluble fiber in there called beta glucans, which has huge benefits in helping to reduce bad or LDL cholesterol, and can help in controlling blood sugar levels, so increasing insulin sensitivity and managing blood sugar levels. So again, it's one of the reasons why diabetic associations actually tell people eat oats, because even though it's a carb, you've got the benefits in there just so big. So that's why we kind of push fiber, because the wider health benefits are massive. And it does take practice. It really does.
Yeah,
But like you say, it's just things like doubling your fruit portion. If the tips that we give for increasing protein, like just eat more of the protein sources that you're having,
yeah.
goes for your
Same with
fiber.
fiber.
Just
Yeah,
eat more of the fiber sources. And it sounds really obvious, but if you know where the fiber's coming from, eat more of it and then
yeah,
drop other stuff. So it might be that you reduce your rice, your pasta, your potatoes a little bit and have
yeah.
more of the veg. Cool. All right. This one is a dead quick one. So when you are running out of time at the end of the week, would you prioritize a decent walk or extra workout? I'm assuming it's personal preference and end goals, but if I'm wrong, please let me know. No, you're not wrong. 100%. It's personal preference a little
Yeah,
bit, but also your end goals. And actually, it's remembering that something is better than nothing. In terms of activity, something is better than nothing. So if you haven't got the time to do a full workout, then do half. If you can't get to the gym to do a heavy weight session, then maybe do something at home. If you are out and about with people and you can't exercise, but you could perhaps encourage them to go for a walk, then do that. It's just any sort of activity is always going to be beneficial. If your end goal, if you have, if there's no other constraints and your end goal is fat loss but sustaining that fat loss, then I would always say try strength training, because you're going to maintain and build muscle, which then helps you maintain those results better. But ultimately, if you haven't got the time to get to the gym or fit the workout at home, and you've only got time for, say, a 5-10 minute walk or something, just do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit of end goals. Clearly, if you've got a choice between a walk and a lifting session, and your goal is to build muscle, or to maintain body comp or improve body composition, maintain fat loss, then strength training, I would say, is your preference, or should be your priority. But other than that, yeah, just do something. All right, that's an easy one. Okay. This one is the one that I think we can sort of just spend a little bit more time on. So I don't take any supplements at the moment. What would be a good place to start? Alice, I'll let you start on this one.
So I have mine that sit by my kettle every single day. So creatine every single day. Massively researched, massive benefits to taking creatine, and everyone should really be taking it daily. That I'd say would be my absolute number one. Closely, or probably joint up there with vitamin D, especially here in the UK where we don't get the sunlight.
Yeah.
Where it's winter, it's very cold. So yeah, protein, vitamin D. Then for me, I also take omega-3s purely because I don't eat any fish. So it's a really good way for me to make sure that I'm getting enough omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah.
Although you can get them from other sources, I like to just make sure I am getting enough. So I will take that every day as well. Other than that, you don't necessarily need any other supplements. And then the only other one that is sometimes seen as a supplement but isn't really would be like protein powders, because that, like you say, is just a byproduct of milk, really. It's
Yeah.
just the way. But a lot of people still see that as a supplement. So if you sit in that camp, then I'd say it's something you could include into your diet, but it's not necessary. If you're struggling to get your protein in, then that can be a really good source.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say my main ones really are creatine and vitamin D.
Yeah, I massively agree with you. Vitamin D, for me, is number one. Like you say, in this country, we do, especially as most people are kind of, their jobs are based indoors. And then
Yeah.
between October and March, we don't get any, the sun doesn't get high enough. So even on a bright day, we do not get, so we produce vitamin D in our skin through exposure to direct sunlight. But between October and March, it doesn't get high enough in the sky to penetrate the atmosphere enough. So absolutely get your vitamin D. And then if you're somebody who works indoors a lot, you're probably not going to get enough exposure. You can get it from food, but you'd need to consume a lot. So dairy products are a particularly good source, but you'd need to consume, it's around, I think it's something in the region of 10 to 12 eggs daily to get the recommended daily intake, and that's assuming that your body absorbs it all, which it doesn't.
Yeah, that's a lot of
So
eggs.
it is. So I would, my recommendation is to start with, in the winter, I would, well, actually, for most people year round, 2000 IUs, which I believe is 50 micrograms, I think is the conversion, but it's 2000 IUs. In the summer, if you're outdoors, then you might get away with not taking it or dropping it down a little bit. But I would say sort of 2000 IU is, for most people, a good enough amount. You can go and ask your doctors for a blood test to get your blood test, get your vitamin D levels checked. Not all of them will do it because it's not a regular test and it is a little bit more expensive. But if you're feeling fatigued particularly, then absolutely go and get it checked. And it's really important for kind of calcium absorption, for bone health, immune system, can help with mood. It's important with kind of strength training as well, with muscle protein synthesis. It plays a role there. But it does also kind of help and aid with fat loss if that's the goal. So vitamin D. Creatine, massively agree with you on that one. Again, the benefit, I think everybody should be taking creatine. 3 to 5 grams daily for most people. Just take a scoop, put it in your smoothie and water, stir it around. I take it with I have a vitamin C tablet, and it's not that I need to top up vitamin C. I just like the taste, and I put the creatine powder in there and chug it down. but yeah, absolutely take your creatine there. If you are perimenopausal, then you might need to take a little bit more, so 6 to 10 grams. But what I would do with that is take it as 2 separate doses, because with creatine, if you take a larger amount of it in any one time, it can cause a little bit of bloating, a little bit of GI gastrointestinal pain. It's nothing dangerous, but it's just a bit of discomfort. So if you get that, split the dose up, but
Yeah.
one in the morning and one at night. But yeah, for most people, creatine, absolutely. There are other things to remember with creatine as well, is that it can cause, for some people, it can cause water weight or water absorption. Now, it's not the same as what we think as water weight retention and feeling bloated. It's actually water being pulled into the muscles, and that makes the muscles work more efficiently, more effectively. And if your weight does go up when you take creatine, then you are probably a good responder and you're probably going to get most of the benefits from it. So look at, if your weight does go up when you start taking creatine, look at that as a good thing, because it means you're going to get the benefits.
Yeah.
Once you've saturated your muscles, because that's the other thing as well, you take it and your muscles will gradually become saturated over a period of 2 to 4 weeks. Once your muscles are saturated, that water weight increase plateaus and stops, and then your weight should drop if you're in a fat loss phase. And depending on how much muscle mass you've got and how well you respond, the weight increase can be anywhere between sort of 1 to 2 pounds up to about 5 pounds. So that's just something to be aware of. Some people sort of say, "Oh, I'm not going to take it because I don't want to see the scale weight going up." Really, what you need to think about is, what are the long-term benefits?
Yeah.
Improved strength, improved maintaining muscle mass, improved energy, improved performance in your workouts, improved brain function. And then again, for perimenopausal women, there is a study to suggest that it can help with brain fog. So loads and loads of benefits. So absolutely with the creatine, and then the omega-3 fish oils. We don't eat enough fish in this country. I tend to have 1 to 2 portions of fish a week, but I take an omega-3 fish oil, and again, the benefits of that are huge. So it again helps with immune system, immune function. It can help to reduce your LDL or bad cholesterol levels, all sorts of other stuff as well. So one of those. I mean, the only ones I would also add is that actually in this country we tend to be magnesium deficient.
Yeah.
So sometimes, but you can change that with diet. So again, your leafy green veg, dark chocolate, there's a reason to eat dark chocolate. It's quite rich in magnesium. So yeah, maybe a magnesium supplement, but I think the thing to think, and this is just something I want to finish off with supplements. They are not necessarily essential. There's a lot of scams out there that you have to be careful
Yeah.
with, and particularly around vulnerable groups. So at the moment, it is perimenopause is a big one. There are lots and lots of people out. You need to be taking this supplement if you are perimenopausal, premenopausal. Or they'll say, like, you need to be taking this supplement if you're a bloke who's getting older. It's just, you have to be so careful, because they overcharge you for stuff. They'll be saying our supplement's more superior to everybody else's, and if you look at the ingredients, it's probably the same as something that's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
The other issue with the supplement industry is that they are not regulated in the same way as pharmaceuticals or even as food. So they can make these kind of claims, or they can say, right, my supplement has this in, and it might not even have the active ingredient. They actually did a study where they tested loads and loads of different supplements and sort of measured how much of the supposed active ingredient that they've got in there. And for some of them, I think for 20% of the supplements, they actually found none of the active ingredient. And it's baffling. There's nothing
Yeah.
policing them there. And the specified doses that they might have on the packet are quite often, it's not right. There's less than that, and they pack a load of fillers in there. So if you get a lot of people saying, yes, you should be taking, this supplement for this particular ailment,
Mm.
there's no evidence that any of them work. There is no strong
Yeah.
evidence that any of them work. Even with things like magnesium for improved sleep, the evidence is weak. There is some evidence there, but it's weak at best, and it suggests that it doesn't work for everybody. The only 3 supplements that have solid evidence that works for the general population are vitamin D, omega-3s, creatine. That's it. Anything
Yeah.
else where they say, oh, we've done these clinical studies, the clinical studies are either studies that they
They
paid
paid to
for
do. Yeah.
themselves, and it's been done with like 15 people, and it's normally an observational study. So they'll say, right, we want you to tell us how you feel when you take this stuff. And the thing is, the placebo effect is a strong thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with collagen. You know, collagen's a big one at the moment where they say, oh, it'll improve your skin or improve your joint health. There is no solid evidence that these things work. However, that's not to say that, if you want to take collagen and you can afford it, and it might make you feel better because of the placebo effect, or you might be lucky and you might be somebody who does respond to it, then go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for some of these supplements, so ashwagandha is a key one, and this was one that I would have said might have helped, because there are suggestions that it might help with anxiety and things like that and stress levels. But it's also one of those that the active ingredient is not always in the amount that they state it as.
Yeah.
And if you take too much of it, there are concerns over its safety as well. So some of them you do have to be careful with, like magnesium. If you take too much magnesium, there are effects, side effects. If you take too much ashwagandha, there are side effects. It's the same with a lot of them. Even vitamin D, if you take too high a level of vitamin D, you can suffer with toxicity. So you do have to be careful. So, I saw on Amazon there was an 8,000 IU dose vitamin D tablet. And when you read the reviews of it, there's people going, this product's dangerous, da, da, da. It's like, yeah, because you've just gone for something. It's like, oh, 8,000 IU. That sounds the best because it's got the most. You're just taking too much.
Yeah.
That tablet is designed to be, maybe at that dose, you take it once at the start of the week, and it's designed for people who forget to take tablets daily. So you remember to take it once on the start of the week, and then you're fine. That's
Yeah.
enough for a week, what we call a bolus dose. But yeah, so supplements. Sorry, I've gone off on a rant there, haven't I? Supplements, vitamin D, up to 2,000 IU, 1 to 2,000 IU. Omega-3s, 2 to 3,000 milligrams. And
Yeah.
then creatine, 3 to 5 grams per day for most people. But if you're perimenopausal, start with that. If you don't notice any of the benefits, maybe up it to 6 to 10 grams. So normally the scoop is either a 3-gram scoop or a 5-gram scoop, depending on which brand you get. I take 5 grams per day, every day. You don't need to preload it. Just take 5 grams per day every day. And then potentially, if you're struggling with things like restless legs or muscle cramps, then it may well be that you might need a magnesium supplement. But it's worth just going to your doctors and getting your bloods checked. Because anything else, if you're deficient in anything, then yes, you might need something else, maybe an iron supplement or zinc or calcium. But don't just take them willy-nilly. Go and get your bloods checked if you're not sure. Go to your doctor, just say, I just want an MOT. They'll do it. Because they'd rather you be healthy than not. And then you can sort of go from there. I think that's everything.
I think it is.
Cool. Right. And maybe we weren't as quick as we wanted to be.
What a surprise.
We just go off on one. Right. Great. I think that's it. We'll have a lovely weekend.
I will try.
And enjoy kind of reorganizing. I know you're reorganizing your house at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's gonna be a long night, a long weekend.
Well,
But we'll get there. It'll be
you'll
worth
get
it.
there. It'll be worth it. Yeah. It'll be worth it. Right. Enjoy your flat pack furniture assembly and
Thank you.
offloading the car, and enjoy your evening meal. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I
You
will
too.
catch you at the start of the week.
Yes. Speak to you
Right.
later.
All right, then, guys. Bye for now. We will both see you next time.
We will.